Hello everyone, welcome back to another 1v1 battle for Warhammer. This is the We is Gobbos build. Well, one Gobbos build. We are also facing off against the Empire. So my build here is being led by Skarsnik. I'm trying to test him out some more. I think he's a pretty cool goblin. I mean, there's a lot of cool goblins, but he's a pretty cool goblin. We have a basic strategy here of just kind of a very long line with swarm tactics. My line here, we have 4 nasty skulkers mixed in this line. We have 5 total normal goblins. We have a Night Goblin Fanatic, the 8-peak loonies, which are the unbreakable ones. Of course, Skarsnik, we have the Ragnarok Queen, a Night Goblin Shaman, 2 Goblin Archers, 2 Goblin Big Bosses on their Forest mounts. That's basically to deal with Lewin and any high damage dealing threats like, I don't know, Demigryph Knights. I'm not Lewin, jeez, generally Empire. Facing Empire here, not Bretonnia. Also have 2 Squig Herds over here on the right side, and that is it for my build. Pretty simple. You just move in there with all of your goblins, of which there are quite a few, and you hopefully overwhelm their front line, get in around to the sides and behind them is the idea of this build, and the Ragnarok is just there to cause a Ragnarok trouble. Over here for the Empire, we have 2 Great Swords, a total of 4 Spearmen, a General of the Empire, the Tattersouls, 5 Crossbows, a Light Wizard, and then 2 Demigryph Knights with Halberds each. I'm guessing they were expecting a more traditional, like, Orc Boar Boy Biggin build, but they are still potentially lethal against an Ragnarok Queen, but that's basically it for my army, in terms that they are like a hard counter to. So I'm just going to be marching at the very beginning. There's no reason to hold back. The Empire player is looking like they're trying to take this hill, and I'm going to use the fancy paint things because I love it. So it looks like that's what they're trying to do. So I'm trying to push up pretty quickly to make sure that we can catch them out of formation because I can see that they're moving this way. And because of that, I'm actually going to get like a staggered charge here in a bit. My right flank is going to be able to engage before my left flank does because I'm in a rush. So it's just letting you know that's going to be happening here soon. You can see these Demigryph Knights up here just kind of posting up, looking at the Gobbo army. They can see, I think they just were able to see this one nasty skulker, but remember, to the enemy player, they can't see my Night Goblins or my other nasty skulkers, so all they see is like Gobbos and then like a break in line, and then more Gobbos. Though I guess now they can see this nasty skulker too. So it's taking a long time for my left flank to kind of get into the line like this, and you can see we're taking some fire here from the crossbow, so I'm going to pull out my Ragnarok a little bit. Although it doesn't really take too much damage. Over here I use Skarsnik Mortar ability from way back here to nail these crossbowmen, but it actually hit the Tattersouls in front of them, and then kind of just went on from there. So my leader is also kind of out of position. I wanted him to be up here in the center to proc his ability. Oh, I don't remember which one of those it is. I think it's the one that's in the shape of the moon. It gives charge defense against all, and then plus 48 missile parry. So I wanted to give that to our Gobbos here in the front, but I had him out of position. Unfortunately. Over here is going to be a Net of Amata cast from the Light Wizard. So it's going to get these 2, and I'm going to immediately try to pull the other forces around this net and get them up here. And you can see, again, in my haste to engage the enemy player before they can get into position on top of this hill, my line is going to be not ideal. You're supposed to probably engage all at the same time and then wrap around immediately, but I do a little piecemeal here. So because of that, my initial nasty skulkers just get destroyed. You can see they have the nasty stab in there because I buffed them with the Night Goblin Shaman. But my goblins are going to hold on for a little bit longer. And again, it's just like a staggered charge. We're getting our Squig Herds here to reinforce the middle. And then we have a Smoke Bomb and Ancient Nooses being dropped over here to try and sense the nasty skulkers and the Warlords, or the Loonies of 8 peaks against those Great Swords. Over here, we're getting flanked by the Demigryph Knights, but I knew that was going to happen, so I'm going to be sending in my 2 Goblin Big Bosses to try and help these nasty skulkers in a fight against the Demigryph Knights. My Goblin Archers are in position trying to put down fire on these Gobbos. You can see way over here is a Night Goblin, or I'm sorry, Nasty Skulker, because I had just given a quick move order around the Net of Emitok, and I'll pick him up here soon. The front line, though, we have a whole gap right here, and we're kind of crushing these Great Swords with the Gobbos over here and then the Ragnarok Queen. And you can see these 2 Gobbos are doing pretty well against these basic Spearmen. So the lines are kind of open. I just need to get a unit free, and there goes another Net of Amata, which is really good because I was about to maneuver my troops around these Spearmen to get into the crossbows. But again, I am applying pressure with our Goblin Archers. Skarsnik is over here in a fight for the life in the middle. So in the middle right now, we have the General of the Empire. So I pulled both of my Goblin Big Bosses because this is what they're geared for. They both have poison. They can both do pretty good damage versus a General of the Empire. And also I have Skarsnik, which is armor piercing and anti-large, which is really cool. And also, if you just saw that, got a cool shot. I believe he just ate a Spearman whole. That's Goblin for you. So I'm going to try and pull Skarsnik over here into the General of the Empire to try and assist in that combat right over there. Nasty Skulkers are now being pulled over here towards these crossbows, which have come back from breaking. My other Goblin Archer actually forgot to move all the way up initially, it looks like. I had forgotten about that. But luckily, I guess I must have given them an attack order to get them moving up finally. I don't know why they were split up from my other Goblin Archer. But this Arachnoid Queen is taking a beating from all these crossbowmen. But that's okay because it has such a high armor that a lot of these shots, their damage is kind of being negated, at least most of it. Another shot from Skarsnik there into the crossbows. You can see we almost killed the General. But because we didn't, they're going to come back and they're going to have a potion of toughness. So they're going to get their health back and we're going to defeat them again. These Halberdier Demigryph Knights went into my one Goblin Archer that was ahead of the other one, and they did manage to rout it. We're trying to get our Goblins in there along with a group of the Night Goblin Fanatics to try and just murder them. Meanwhile, the General comes back after popping the potion of toughness, so they're getting most of their health back, and a third net of Ambatok goes down on the Spider, and that's going to be it for the Ragnarok Queen. I was unable to actually summon her spiderlings because I filled out the roster. I had no free spaces open. The entire time, well, not the entire time, but a couple times I kept trying to summon her spiderlings in the middle of all of these crossbows, and I was like, damn it, none of my goblins have died. They are all still in the field. So, yeah, I wasn't really thinking that when I built this goblin build to max capacity. I was not thinking about needing one space open for the spiderlings, which I was planning to use from the beginning to try and silence some of these crossbows, but she did work. She took a lot of the crossbow fire. She took like half the ammunition of all these crossbow units before she fell, which is okay. So the General is back along with the two Demigryph Knights, so we're pulling Skarsnik and the Goblin Big Bosses. These are our Demigryph Knights / General hunting group. Meanwhile, over here, the AP Loonies have held on this entire battle because they're unbreakable, fighting against these Great Swords. I've pulled in some Routing Squidcurs and Nasty Skulkers, these are all the routing units, and I am pulling them all over here to finish this Great Sword here on the right flank. You can see we have routed off a lot of the Spearmen and the Crossbowmen. The Night Goblin Shaman I threw into this group of Crossbowmen with the Nasty Skulkers. The Night Goblin Shaman is more than a match for some basic Crossbowmen, so I wanted to silence them, and we have done that pretty effectively, leaving them with only one interest group of Crossbowmen left. The Demigryph Knight battle is going pretty well in my favor because of Skarsnik's anti-armor and anti-large ability, and his pretty good melee stats all around, really. Like, Skarsnik is a pretty powerful guy. We got Trixie Traps here, which is increasing the leadership, charge bonus, and speed. Not that we really needed the leadership at this current amount of time, but why not? And we were just trying to deal with these Demigryph Knights and the General of the Empire for a second time. Meanwhile, we have just routed off this Great Sword, so this whole entire force is going to be marching on to these Crossbowmen, but they were just netted. That's why they're sitting still right now. The Light Wizard got another net off. A lot of good nets from the Empire player in this battle. Goblin Archers are now just firing into the Demigryph Knights, which are taking just such a beating from these Goblin Big Bosses and Skarsnik. And you can see we're actually going to be routing them off, and then we're going to be going up against the General. You can see his health is going to drop pretty quickly. We got the Goblin Archers on him, we got Skarsnik, we got the Goblin Big Bosses, and his health just falls really quickly. I was honestly not expecting the Goblin Big Bosses and Skarsnik to do as much as they did, just because I haven't really used Skarsnik that much yet since they were dropped, because I've been using mostly Warzag, honestly. And I've also been neglecting the Night Goblin War Boss, I think is what he's called, that has the Squid Curd mount. I should probably utilize him some more too, but Skarsnik, I believe, did most of the damage to the General and a lot to those Demigryph Knights too. He's not to be messed with. He also has poison damage. We'll go over his stats again because honestly I forgot his stats ever since I went over him with the DLC overview, which was like weeks ago at this point. But anyway, good game to my opponents. The We as Gobbos build won the day. Goblins are great, especially with all the new units they had in the last King and the Warlord DLC. They just got so many nice buffs, and they're just even more powerful than they used to be. These 8-peak loonies, still on the field. They held off that entire time against a greatsword. Most of that time was like one-on-one. Just unbreakable is potentially so huge. Just the fact that we held the greatswords in place for that entire time, and they weren't able to like come down here and like flank my soldiers that were killing the crossbow. Like it worked out a lot. Anyway, let's go over the kills. For us, we got Skarsnik with 63 kills. That's a lot, and he was not really injured that much. Night Goblin Shaman got 8 kills with those crossbows. The Goblin Big Bosses were fighting the Demigryph Knights through the entire thing in the General. The front line of Goblins did pretty well. Night Goblins 51 kills. These Nasty Skulkers got a decent amount of kills, mostly all around. And the 8-peak loonies, 32 kills. Most of that is against great swords. That is pretty impressive for a Night Goblin unit to get 32 against a highly armored soldier. because these are not the Sundering ones. These are just the Unbreakable ones. Goblin Archers, 55 kills in this one. Most of that is against the crossbows, and maybe they got a Demigryph Knight or two because I was firing at them for a long time. And then the Squig Herds, like they're really good for what they got. Instead of looping them around and trying to kill the crossbows, since I knew I was going to be cut off from the Demigryph Knights because we were both on the same flank, Demigryph Knights will murder the Squig Herds. Now the Squig Herds may still be considered small, so they won't get their bonus versus large against the Squig Herds, but still, I mean, the Demigryph Knights, like, of course they're going to crush Squig Herds. So that's why I decided to just run them up the center and do what they could do, the best they could do. And then the Arachnarch Queen, before she was brought down, 58 kills. Not bad. Most of those were against Great Swords, so they were very impactful. For my opponent here, pit.com. I have not visited this website. I mostly stay away from websites I don't know about. So I don't know, at your own risk, maybe check out pit.com. Or maybe don't. Probably don't. Anyway, 43 kills on the General of the Empire, which is a lot. Actually, there's high kills all over the place because we have so many goblins here. 5 kills on Light Wizard. Spearman 61 is really impressive. Tattersouls 98 is really good. Over 100 on each of the Great Swords. The crossbows, they didn't get many kills because they're mostly focused on my Arachnarch Queen through that. So she did work in death. And that's, the most I can ask of her. Then the Demigryph Knights here, over 100 kills each as well. But even with all those high kills, there's just so many goblins. So we were still able to pull through the day. But again, good game to pit.com. And let's just go over Skarsnik real briefly. Alright, so this is the Goblin build. So we got Skarsnik here, the Stand Your Ground and the Wah, and then the 2 special ones, Spider of the Bad Moon, which increases parry and expert charge defense, and then the Tricksy Traps for speed, leadership, and charge bonus. And then for the items, this is the thing that was shooting the mortar, the Skarsnik's Prodder. It seems cool. How much does it cost? Over 200? I shot it off, what, twice? I mean, it did some damage against those Tattersouls. It did some damage to crossbows later. I don't know. Maybe it's worth it. It's a fun little thing, if anything. But yeah, the combat stats here. 50 armor, 5,000 HP, which is pretty high. The leadership of 75 is okay. But his attacks are poison, which is great. And his melee stats here, 50 and 55 for attack and defense, is pretty high. Like, let's look at King Lewin. King Lewin on Beaquisir is 48 and 40. But people usually mounted on big monsters like that do have a lower. Yeah, like, so on a horse, I guess he would have a higher attack than Skarsnik. But still, like, this little Gobbo packs a nasty punch. He has some really good stats. And then 390 weapon strength and a bonus versus large and mostly armor piercing. Really deadly. And 52 charge bonus. He's not even mounted. He's just a little goblin and a little pet squig. 52 charge bonus. So yeah, he's a mean little bastard. So yeah, that's Skarsnik for you. Anyway, let's take a look at the cinematic view of the battle. These poor Gobbos, they were supposed to have the buff from Skarsnik, but I had him out of position way back here. You poor goblins. And those nasty Skulkers, they were a little faster on the charge. They were not supposed to be the first ones. The basic Gobbos were supposed to absorb the Great Sword's charge here. That was the plan. And those Tattersouls immediately routed those poor Gobbos. But then here comes Squigs. And here comes Itchy Nuisance. Eat those Tattersouls. Eat them! Get him, my Gobbos.
battle! Keep your heads down, men! They're casting spells!
Man, this Ragnarok Queen wore hundreds of arrows. Sure, crossbows. Like, she just keeps getting staggered. I kept trying to move her, but she kept getting staggered. Oh, wait, there's just too many bullets. And then the other net. Got all the nets. That poor queen.
Kill everything! Enemy wizard
Man,
spotted!
Goblin is really big. Look at that. He's like the size of a gingerbread knight. Damn! That big boss kill, though.
Look out! Spellcaster!
I think that's another sneaky stabbing spell that we're dropping. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, there we go. Sneaky stab. All these poor Gobbos just waiting to move. I haven't really seen Skarsgård attack that much yet. Oh, I guess maybe it's because Goblin is. Oh, I guess that's when they shatter. Man, yeah, look at these happy spiders. They're so happy. Yeah, I was waiting to see Skarsgård attacking with, like, just impale this dude with a spear or something, but I guess Gobbos was doing most of the attack animations that time. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the battle, everybody. We as Gobbos is still just so much fun. I love goblins so much. They're just the nastiest, most joyful creatures in the Warhammer universe. At least until the Skaven come. Then maybe Skaven will be my new favorite. That's probably still months and months away, I would guess. Anyway, again, hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time. Take care.